We've got a question from Kunal A,
Hey Kunal.
and he
Kunal's a
asks,
champion, by the way.
yeah, absolute champion, and he asks, want to know how to deal with a situation when you get promoted at work and you
Yes.
notice that some people are jealous or not happy and start talking behind your back or not taking instructions from you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good one. A really good question, Kunal. So, I've had a couple of experiences similar to that. I've had the benefit of being my own boss now for probably the last 6 or so years and being the chief decision maker. So it's not really a huge issue for me because I can hire and fire people. But for you, I remember I was working at Hoyts in the movie business. And I say the movie business, I wasn't an actor, I was just serving popcorn. So not quite the same thing. But I told my cousins, Indy and Millie, Luke's girlfriend, Indy, I was like, oh, I work at the movies. And they thought for a while that I owned the movie cinema for a long, long time. But I indulged them on that fantasy. Anyway, getting back to track for Canal. I remember when I was working at Hoyts, we had what's known, I think it was called the Star Team or something, and it was me and another girl, and we were identified as being people that could basically sell more product than anybody else, and we travelled across the state to train all the other teams up. And you naturally get in every organization, there's this battle of egos and hierarchies and everything that goes with that as well. I think it's important for you to understand this as a leader, as a manager of people, that you have to make a decision. And I remember, Jace, we had this conversation back in the early days of Wild, which was, do you want to be liked or do you want to be respected? And from the flip side, from an employee to a manager's perspective, do you want to be friends or do you want to be better? And so I think it's important to understand that when you're a team and you're all working together and you're not superior or a subordinate, when you're at an equal peers level, everyone wants to be liked, and obviously everyone would like to be respected, but being liked is probably more important for most people. When you become a manager, it's more important to be respected than liked. Some people are naturally going to just categorize you now as being a boss and treat you very, very differently. Some people don't, it's not that they don't like you, they just don't like people in authority. So it's important to not take that personally. But in many cases, you've got to sacrifice when you're a manager, you've got to sacrifice being liked by people. It doesn't mean to say that you can't be liked. It just means to say that your goal should always be to be respected. Now, people might not like what you do, but they'll still respect your decisions, provided you hold yourself with some standards there. So it's very important to understand that, one, it's not necessarily even about you, but rather just about the role that you're occupying now. Two, there's some elements of people, I wanted your job, I believe I'm better than doing your job. And some people are just so negative that they're going to find something to fester or bitch or moan or complain or gossip about. So I would make sure that you're very clear on your own self-worth. I would make sure you're very clear about the idea that you're there to be respected, not to be liked. If you are liked, it's a bonus, but it's not a prerequisite. And I would call it early and often. So if you're working or speaking to someone, communicating with somebody, and you get the sense that they don't like you, they're presenting body language, call them on it. See, most people are cowards. They don't want to acknowledge it. They prefer to use subtext and subliminal and gossip and hearsay to manipulate things. So fully anticipate that this is what will happen. People that have an issue with you, that want to try and galvanize support, will do one of two things. They will speak to people about negative things, and other people are sheep, so they'll go along with it. Or they'll give you the angle, which is, I've spoken to other people, or even worse, other people have come and spoke to me and they've got an issue, but I don't want to share who that person is. What's important then, if you get that issue, and that will happen for you, where people come and say, hey, I've had concerns, or other people have mentioned to me, I just want to bring it up. I'm not the only one that thinks these things. They're the perfect statements for manipulation because, one, they don't want to validate it because they can't, because it doesn't exist. Two, if the other people actually genuinely had an issue, they'd be speaking to you and you'd be speaking to them. But three, it's a position that makes them feel like they've got a group of people supporting them. You feel like everybody's out to get you, and the reality is it's all just smokes and mirrors. So the best way to deal with it is to deal with it individually and then also as a group. Have a conversation with people that you don't feel are fully on board. Ask them if they've got any challenges, any concerns, anything that they want to work through with you. You want to let them know that you're an open book, that you're there to talk and communicate with them. But on the same token, there's things that you will and won't accept within the team, number one. And then number two, once that's clear, it's important that you frame out to your overall team that if there's a problem with someone or something, they have to speak to somebody that can do something about it. So what that means is, if I've got an issue with Luke, for example, and Jason's his manager, if I'm having a conversation with Luke, I can probably solve that conversation. But if I'm speaking to Jason, Jason's in a position where he can do something about it directly. But if I'm gossiping about Jason to Luke, Luke has no ability to solve that problem. So it's important that you make sure everyone knows gossiping is not accepted or tolerated, but feedback's always welcomed. And if there is feedback, to either come and write it down, send it to them, send it to you anonymously. But it's really not that much of a big deal. It's normally just one bad apple, but you've got to make sure you check them. And if someone is gossiping or bitching or moaning or complaining, that you make sure that there's a conversation about that as well. Understand that naturally you're going to get haters. Understand that as you rise to the top, there's less air up there. There's also less support up there as well. Making sure that you understand that that's just human nature, and sometimes it takes a bit of time to settle in. Now, there's 4 different phases. I know this is a bit of an extended answer to the question, but there's 4 different stages of team dynamics. You've got forming, storming, norming, and performing, and then transforming. So the first time everybody comes together, they form, and everybody's happy and everyone loves each other. Then you have some sort of challenge for hierarchy, position, and status in an organization, and that's where groups storm, right? Consider that's the teenage years of an adolescent. Then you've got the norming and performing, where everyone sort of normalizes, they know what it is that they're meant to be doing, and everyone starts to kick goals, and then you finally got transforming. Now, when you go from being at the same level to a team that was norming and performing, and now you've been promoted, the whole group dropped back a level into storming because they want to try and find out where that makes them fit as part of that overall structure. So just anticipate that in the beginning there'll be some rocky roads, but just make sure that you're very clear about your value and what you expect from people, what you will and won't tolerate, and then be open. And I would be proactive. Be proactive in reaching out to people, speaking to people, checking in with them, asking if they've got any questions, any feedback on how you can do your job better. Come at it from a place not of entitlement, but rather from a place of wanting to learn how to better serve and manage your people. And I think that'll go a long way. And at the end of the day, your results will speak for themselves.